Jose Vitor Leme. How much has he meant to you guys, JJ?
He's meant everything. That's what our sport is. It's 8 seconds wreck. 8 seconds wreck.
Best bull rider of all times.
Michael Gaffney.
Welcome to the Luke Branquinho Show. And man, do we have a special treat for you all today. We have got the general manager of the Austin Gamblers, JJ Gottsch, and their head coach, Michael Gaffney. Guys, thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Luke.
Yeah, so let's dive right into it. And you guys got the championship 2024. And the team you built starting off, number 1 draft pick, Jose Vitor Leme. How much has he meant to you guys, JJ?
He still has to step up and get the job done.
He's meant everything, Luke. Coming as an outsider of the sport and trying to learn more about it and about the individuals and kind of who they were and their importance. Obviously Jose was the first person we heard about, especially when we knew we had the first pick. And so, learning about his greatness, his being a 2-time world champ and just his commitment to excellence, and all the things that G-Man talked about and all the other coaches as well and everybody that I talked with in the industry. It was a lot of talk about how he was as a rider. I think the biggest impact that he's had for us beyond that, which we really didn't expect, was just his role as a team captain.
I'm so glad to have my teammates supporting me. That's my 4th win on this arena, so it's so amazing how this crowd caring for us. This is incredible.
He really wants to win. He loves this team aspect. He loves being the captain. He loves putting things together, setting the tone. He leads by example every day, not only with his work ethic, but in everything we do. What time we show up, where we show up, how we dress, all those things. He's a pro's pro. He's truly professional. He represents us so well. And that's probably been the biggest thing for us. And just, I've been around some competitive people in my life. I've worked for Nolan Ryan for 20 plus years and been around some greats, but Jose is arguably one of the most competitive people I've ever been around.
Jose, last night, very scary situation for all of us and mainly you and your family, but to be able to come back, the reasoning for you getting on tonight, let us know why you had a choice to sit out, but why would you have to get on?
Man, honestly, to come back, it's always easier for me because it's another opportunity God is giving to me, to leave and to do my job, to do what I love, and that's what I'm here for. Do this job and bring happiness to my family, to my fans, and that's what I want to do.
He's been a joy to be with, and just he's built the foundation. And like I said, he's really made G-Man and my jobs pretty easy.
Well, Michael, coming, 1997 PBR World Champ, but before that, you were one of the founders of the PBR. So you guys kind of came together as a team, grouped up. But back then, bull riding was an individual sport. It was you against the bull. There was no real team aspect to it. Now you find yourself in a different situation and with another championship, but on the team aspect side of it, how have you seen that transition from, bull riding being an individual sport to now a team sport?
Well, it's been incredible for me first because, you're right, and you traveled all those years, Luke, when you have your compadres with you, right? And you had that camaraderie, even though you're competing against each other in the arena. But, fast forward, 30 plus years ago, and this next evolutionary piece of the PBR, which was a pipe dream, quite frankly, when we got in that hotel room that day and threw in $1,000 that none of us didn't have. But this whole team aspect, to put us all together and collectively, have the same goal has been, and have a guy like Jose Vitor Leme, who is just a consummate professional in every way, like JJ talked about, Luke, is really special, and it just elevates our sport. I'm glad, and I'm so great to be a part of it. But man, if I could go back and put myself in a rider's shoes right now and be in a locker room with a guy like him and Ice, Kaiki Pacheco and Sage Kimsey in this team format. I mean, how does not one that's great become greater? I mean, it's a fantastic platform.
Well, and to that point, last year getting to be behind the buck and shoots and talking with these guys, getting to go in the locker room.
Let's do it again tomorrow.
More to do. Real quick, Ice. Thanks for those moments to get us here tomorrow. So we got another shot. Appreciate you. It's important. Yeah. All right.
1, 2, 3,
You know, and every locker room has their team captain, right? The guy somebody always looks up to, goes to for advice other than the coaches. But seeing Jose in his element in there and watching him, how he, works with the other guys, obviously Brazilian, so he's probably a great translator for you as well, kind of helping explain stuff to the other Brazilians that aren't quite fluent in English, and just to be around that as really on the outside, because when we were rodeoing, we kind of had a team leader in the truck, but everybody was, doing their job. And that's what I feel like Jose holds everybody accountable in that aspect, JJ.
No, 100%. And really, when you look at our team, Luke, even though we've had some success every year, and obviously the team's championship in 24, our team today is much different than it was in 2022 after that first draft.
Right.
When, we had the first pick and then we kind of went down a little bit in terms of being able to get guys. And so Jose was the guy. We had some great riders on the rest of the roster, but it was really just Jose in terms of kind of the star. And then at the end of that year in 2022, we were able to get Dalton Castle, another first-round pick. So adding that component to the locker room. And then last year, adding the Iceman, Kaique Pacheco, right? Yeah. So now you've got 3 first-round draft picks. And now this year in the offseason, being able to pick up Sage and pick up Denner. And so what's been interesting to watch over these last 2 years is how Jose has while still maintaining that team captain leadership aspects, but how he's brought those other guys into the fold and how he's made that a part of the decision making from the rider side. And so that's what's been really interesting to watch in the maturation of him as a leader and a team captain. But it's a different team now. When you look at that locker room and you've got Jose and Dalton and Kaique and Sage and Denner and Lucas and Ramon. I told G-Man, I said, if we can get that locker room in shape and get those guys on the same page, we're going to be a pretty formidable team this year. But it's a lot. Those guys, when you're a star like that, and especially in this sport, you guys know this better than I do. You got to have a big ego. You got to have confidence if you're getting on the back of a bull and putting your hand in that rope. And so being able to manage those personalities, I think, is probably going to be one of our biggest challenges throughout this season.
Well, but you just said something that I didn't even realize. You had Jose, number 1 draft pick. You got Kaique. Your draft picks, you weren't just trying to build a championship team the first year, which honestly, that would have been awesome, be a champion first year. But you're building longevity in your team with getting all these guys picked up now. And we're going into year 4 now. Mm-hmm. And how many number 1 draft picks do you have on your team now?
We've got, so there's Jose was 1, Dalton was 1, Kaique was 1, and Sage was 1. Yeah. So in different years, but yeah, so we've got 4, and again, they're great riders, and it's great to be around these guys, and while there are a lot of differences amongst them as individuals, their goals are the same. They all want to be champions.
I dare say it was never in doubt, but that's how good Leme is, as he gives Austin something to smile about at the very end.
Welcome back to the Luke Branquinho Show. We have CEO JJ Gottsch and head coach Michael Gaffney of the Austin Gamblers. Guys, thanks again for coming on. And Michael, you were talking about how you could help build your team up in the locker room and outside and don't let egos get in the way. And you have to do that. You got, Jose, Kaique, Sage, Dalton, and then you have a Lucas Davino, a Diener, and a Ramon de Lima. And these are guys that could feed so much off of the success and the egos of the other guys in the locker room.
Absolutely. And when we start talking about this stuff, Luke, it's hard not to take me back to a kid from New Mexico who was really behind. When I moved to West Texas and I watched a lot of the boys ride, end up being my college, roommates and classmates and rodeo teammates. And I wanted to be like them, right? I figured if I could emulate them, I'd be successful. And I just, right? Steel sharpens steel. And I think when you've got a group of guys that we're talking about here, how do you, there's going to be the ebbs and flows that we know in professional bull riding, like any other job or sport. But when you have the likes of, to your left and to your right, whether it be a Sage Kimsey or a Kayuki Pacheco, and then right behind that, your team captain in Jose Vitor Leme. And then really, if you want to call it, I mean, the second part of the team, and Ramon de Lima and Lucas, who's, in the top 5 of the world leading now, and had great success and put us over the hump there at the world finals as well. How do you not have a great chemistry? And because of the individuals, again, I think that we are going to be, and I think it's going to be an enjoyable time to have these guys synergistically feed off each other, so we can accomplish, game wins every weekend, as long as we can keep them healthy.
Yeah, they keeping them healthy, obviously in bull riding is key.
These are the moments that define who we are. And I think that it's just about enjoying the choices that we've made in our lives about why we do this.
And we had some conversations with all of them, like, listen, guys, this is something that we're going after. We're not going after just one championship.
Right.
We want to get a bunch. And so, but to do that, we've got to be able to go out and get these riders. Are you comfortable with them fitting in the locker room? And they're like, yes, they're going to make us a better team. So let's bring them in. So it's been fun. I don't love, I'm glad I'm not G-Man. I'm glad I'm not the guy that has to fill out the lineup card every week.
Well, to that point again, you look at the Carolina the last couple of years and all the gold buckles, and they were the hype. Like, this team should not lose a game, but yet here we are, not a championship, and starting to draft off some guys. I mean, you guys were lucky enough to get Sage from them. Again, you go back to that team dynamic of maybe egos got in the way, or you don't know what it is. But you guys looks like to me you're managing that. And again, Michael, you have to have that type of management, or you have a bunch of great bull riders and not a great team.
And that's exactly right. The chemistry is got to be right. Synergistically, they've got to feed off each other, and they've got to, like JJ says, it's I mean, I'm looking forward to it. But it's going to be a lot up to them, or mostly up to them. I'm going to be there and kind of be the mediator and say, look, this is where I think we need to do this and that type of thing. And they've been really, it's been fantastic. And you mentioned our locker room, the respect they've given me, Luke, for a guy that's been old and washed up for a long time, it's been it really has. It's been fantastic though. They and that's again back to I think Jose and his demeanor, his character says a lot about him. Dalton, I mean he's a quirky little booger, but here's a guy that gives each and every guy in the locker room, myself included, our due respect, and that's what I think a lot of it has to do with. And JJ's been, speaking of mediator, has been able to help, kind of smooth that field. And I think, synergistically between the two of us, we've been a great team to do that. And I gotta say this too. It's funny because if I've been asked this once, it's been 20 times, right? And you can imagine being a coach of such a formidable team is how from the fans saying, how does one help? What does the coach do? And it takes me back to thinking back in the 90s when the dream team, Coach K and Daly. I mean, these are guys that have the best guys in the world. They went out and plucked the best guys. And how do you help them? But it takes a guy like Jose or Sage. I mean, Sage, we talk nearly every day. The professor, I'm starting to call him now, because they're always wanting to get better, right? They really are. And that's what a true professional is. And I think back to that synergy in our locker room, you got huge egos, right? Because they're not going to be as great as they are, which you're a 4 or 5-time world champion. It takes a guy that's got some big cojones to think that I can do this not only once, but I can continue to do it and do it well.
And JJ, now with the UTB season, you guys are having game within a game where, the Austin Gamblers go up against another team. So you're taking the individual side of the UTB, but you're also integrating a team aspect of it. Are you seeing more so they're sticking together, they're banding together like brothers, even at those individual events?
A little bit, Luke. We've only had one, quite honestly, and it was in Houston, and it was fun for us because it was really our first opportunity as a team to get everybody back together for the first time since we were all in Vegas. So that in and of itself was kind of nice to get everybody back together. We've got 2 more opportunities. We're going to have a game in Albuquerque on March 28th at the Ty Murray Invitational there in Albuquerque. And then we'll be riding again in Nampa in the middle of April as well. So we'll see. But, I think the big picture there is that, you've seen the success of teams over these last 3 seasons and how many new fans that it has brought to the sport. But, you've seen us go from 8 teams to 10 teams. You've seen us now incorporated in the team challenge. So I don't think the team series is going away. The team concept is going away. I just see it, quite honestly, growing and becoming more a part of the schedule for the PBR moving forward.
Well, and that's what I feel like in starting when you guys first started in 22 to now. It's growing, it's building, it's gaining a lot of new fans, which I think is really good. I mean, you got the New York Mavericks up there in New York building a team, and that's frankly, we all know that the Western people love sport, whether it's rodeo, bull riding, whatever. We need to go out and grasp those other fans, the concrete jungle, those people everywhere. You got Florida Freedom, which get those folks from down there and just build it. Don't just keep going after the same fans. Let's go get new fans. And I think that's exactly like you said, what the PBR and the PBR teams is trying to do. And I do feel like they're trying to not push out, but change it where instead of UTB being number 1, teams is the top of the list, and then the UTB is kind of the right below it. And I think you're there now, actually.
It's a little bit heavier, but it's made for board riding. Kind of lighter deal.
Welcome back to the Luke Branquinho Show. We have CEO JJ Gottsch and head coach Michael Gaffney of the Austin Gamblers going down to Fort Lauderdale this last year and having not the whole Miami Dolphin team, but seeing those athletes there that, I think those athletes love the sport, love Western sports, love rodeo, love bull riding, but for them to be able to experience it at that level and get to be in the locker room and see what these guys go through, see that they run their hand, a little bitty rope on a 2,000-pound bull, and just the look in their eyes. In fact, I got to talk to one of them kind of a long time. He's like, this is freaking crazy. All we do is put cleats on and helmet and pads and run out of the field to hit each other. These guys are getting on a bull. And, Michael, that's what I love about our sport is there's a lot of people out there that play professional sports as in football, baseball, that are huge fans of the Western industry.
Yeah, and I think they have a large respect and mutual respect. The center for the Kansas City Chiefs obviously showed up this past year at the team's event.
I got to interview him. That guy's huge.
And what is he? I mean, he looks like
Creed Humphreys is huge.
Yeah, no, he looks like he's about 12 years old, and he walks up on stage. You saw me. He made me look like a little shrimp, and even you're a big guy, and he towers over you.
Hey, Kansas City Outlaw fans.
Well, and I think even going farther from athletes, you have, like you said, Rip from Yellowstone. And Kid Rock, he's a huge fan of the sport. He's having the Kid Rock's Rockin' Rodeo in conjunction with the World Finals. And you can keep going down the list of A-listers, JJ. And obviously that is just huge for our sport.
Well, and I think that, the big term that you hear right now, Luke, is Western curious. Yep. You've got general citizens that are Western curious. You've got celebrities that are Western curious. And I think that we're all able to take advantage of it, and to where through all of our lives, as you guys are riding, competing, you were always in the West, but, for general society, there was kind of always these hills and valleys of when country music was on top and then it wasn't. But now we've kind of hit this plateau and it hasn't gone down at all. And right. I think it's even increasing a little bit more. And I think it's here to stay for a while.
Just believe it and go enjoy the belief in yourself. And calm. You guys deserve this.
1, 2, 3, Gamblers!
So for us, in the Western sports business, specifically PBR, with this team concept that really, it's a lot easier to consume than just a regular rodeo event or a regular PBR event. When you look at kids today and the whole thing of 8 seconds and swipe, 8 seconds and swipe, that's what our sport is.
Yeah,
it's 8 seconds wreck, 8 seconds wreck. Even when a guy rides, there's going to be a wreck at the end. And so, that wasn't why this sport was developed, a couple hundred years ago, but it's crazy that the timing right now of people being Western curious and the team's concept being easier to consume and just the nature of our sport. I think it's just a great time to be where we are right now.
Ooh! All right, here's some rapid fire questions. Michael, we'll start with you first. Ready? Favorite rodeo?
Albuquerque.
My favorite Western sports event is PBR at MSG.
best bull rider of all times?
Jim Sharp.
Michael Gaffney.
Yeah, he's supposed to say that.
All right, best bull rider to watch in 2025?
Jose Vitor Leme.
With Jose on the shelf right now, I'm going to say Dalton Castle.
All right, favorite baseball team?
He's no longer playing. We were talking about Nolan Ryan not very long ago. It's number 34, and when he was playing, obviously up with Texas Rangers.
I'm a Philadelphia Phillies guy.
All right, stay tuned. We got more Luke Branquinho Show coming up. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Hey, you want to see more in-depth details on the Luke Branquinho Show? Make sure you like and subscribe.